And once again, welcome to another episode of Hashtag FML. Hashtag FML, where we're, once again bringing some really interesting content. We're talking a little bit now today about a really interesting topic. It's mindset. Everybody has a thing with mindset. I got a special guest speaker with me here today. It's Shekhar, my guy.
Pedro, Sipu, thank you for having me once again. Always an honor, and always love these discussions.
My just so y'all know, my nickname is Sipu.
That's
what
right.
Sipu means? You know what that means? Tell what it means.
Pedro Sipu. Sipu is like a grandmaster in martial arts, or I don't know the distinct type, but it's basically somebody with.
I'll chop kick you. I'll drop kick you.
See, he'll chop kick you while spreading eternal wisdom. He'll give you some good speech, right? That's why he's
dropping all on you.
Somebody with a lot of wisdom, has a good mindset, everything. So yeah, that's his name. Well-deserved nickname, as always.
I appreciate it, man. So again, we do these podcasts every week. We bring them to you to try to help everyone kind of understand a little bit of where they are and the space that we're in. Right? We want to bring some awareness.
Exactly.
Ultimately, to what? We want to bring awareness to the forefront of identity.
Yes.
We're fitness guys, right? So we're always in a fitness space, right? We're always in that space of fitness, right? You're always working out, I'm always working out.
Yeah.
All of our friends always do the same thing.
But so much more than physical, right?
So much more than physical, right? It's all mindset, right? It's all mindset.
Exactly.
So, today we're going to be discussing a bit about that mindset, right? What is the mindset that you have in regards to that, right? And I'm going to kind of segue this into, we did a podcast not too long ago about conformity, and we're going to kind of segue into this, but there's an adage. It talks about not conforming to things in the physical, meaning not conforming to what you see here, right? But conforming to yourself, and by conforming to yourself, you have to transform your mind. You have to change your mind so you can do that, right? It's really famous. It's actually biblical, but I like to stay from the biblical aspect of it because we don't know who's religious, who's not, who's spiritual, who's not. I don't want to touch on that subject.
Right.
But it really holds true to what it is, right? And again, it's you don't conform, meaning you don't adapt. You don't get used to the things in the physical. However, to get to what you're trying to get to, however, you gotta do it by transforming your mind. And what that pretty much means is you gotta change your mindset. And anything you do, you gotta change your mindset. It's how you perceive things, how you see things, and then translate that determines how you get to the point you're trying to get to. So I think that's really important, you know what I mean? And for me, in mindset, when we talk about mindset, it's all about my experiences in fitness. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to be straight up. I have not been the poster boy of, the most positive mindsets, over the last, 5 to 10 years of my life. I'm young. I've come up through a lot of, adversities, challenges, and I'm still going through a lot of challenges, as we all are. I think we're human beings. We're in this experience. But I also think that it's all about how you deal with it, right? How you see it, how you deal with it, and how you address it. And a lot of credit to you too, because ever since I met you, a lot of it is like your mindset, just your personality is so dynamic. You know what I mean? Really, it is, right?
Yeah.
You're like the mayor of like anywhere you go, like the mayor, right? Shaking hands and what's up? Everybody comes in. You just walk up to people and just greet them.
I'm the guy who didn't know COVID existed. Just shake
everybody's hands, right? And it's crazy because you're just so into to every person, everything around you, and I just find that to be such a good trait.
Yeah.
That even for me, it was one of the things that really opened me up to wanting to be like that. It's an admiration, right? Mm-hmm. And an aspiration at the same time. But I think it's really important when we think about it. So I'm gonna leave you to kind of talk a little bit about that. How did you get to that point? Because it really admires me, right? I mean, I'm admired by it, right? You come into the gym, you work out, but you talk to everybody, and you try to help everybody, and you're always with a smile on your face, right? And it's like you're not even having a bad day, and I think everybody wants to be like you. So, tell us a little bit about that.
It's an honor to hear that. Thank you, Pedro. Really. And the main thing is, I think what Pedro touched on, that key word is perseverance, right? Now, one thing I've spoken to Pedro multiple times is I wasn't always like this, right? There was times where, I was actually angry, irritable, and just that was my general personality. And it just kind of like, to come from that to where I am right now, you need to be what I call a struggler, right? One of my favorite, I'm a huge nerd, if you guys haven't already realized. I watch anime and manga big time, so shout out to Berserk, my favorite manga of all time. There's the concept of struggler, right? This manga is about a guy who he's a mindless warrior at first, but then kind of develops, and then he goes from losing everything, kind of, getting betrayed, but he still continues on and he still develops as a character, right? So I think that that's kind of like the mindset that you have to keep, is that things are bad right now, I'm not in the best mood, but why should I take that out on other people, right? I want to make other people feel better about themselves. I want to make other people feel happy. So even if I had a hard day at work, long day at work, for example, like at the gym, right? That's where I'm called the mayor big time, right? So like going there, that's an outlet for me. That's a stress relief for me big time after work. But just when I walk in, I'm thinking that this is a community, right? There's a bunch of people here. Right? I'm not gonna take any stresses I have from the day out onto here, right? Rather, I want to do the opposite. I want to make people laugh, right? I want to be dynamic, right? Eccentric even, right? Things like, for example, juking people when I'm kind of, in the middle of, we're walking towards each other, just to put a smile on their face or just to make them think, whoa, that was out of the ordinary, right? So yeah, how did I get there? I say perseverance is a big thing, but also being introspective, like we talked about in our last podcast, right? With conformity. Knowing yourself, knowing kind of, what irks you, knowing what your passion is, and putting yourself into the position where you can kind of realize, okay, I'm not where I am, right, with career, whether it's career, fitness, or anything in life. I'm not where I am right now, but it's okay, because I'm going to get there, right? And there might not even be a point B there, right? Perfection is a flawed notion. It doesn't exist. Right? But I'm going to work towards it. That's what makes me happy, my journey, right? Getting to that, that journey makes me happy, not the end result, not the instant gratification.
Right.
So I think, that's a big thing. That's kind of how I've developed over the years. In my early 20s, I'm 25 right now. When I was 20, 21, I worked in high finance Wall Street for a good year, and was overworked, long hours, and I just felt like I wasn't being myself. I was very passionate about statistics and optimization, and I wasn't able to incorporate that into my work. And so I said that, okay, I'm not there right now, but I want to make this shift, right? How do I get there? And I took those steps, right? Whether it's kind of joining a program, joining a master's degree, reaching out to the right people, learning coding, different programming, kind of having that sense of optimization. How can we fine-tune little things in my life to get to where I want to be? I think that's what kind of keeps a smile on my face. That's what has gotten me to where I am right now, where I'm very fortunate to work as a data scientist, which is a topic I'm very passionate about, and just an awesome field in general. But
I guess with all that being said, all those are the things that brought you to that point. But what about it actually now? The one thing I will say is that I guess your fitness journey also is a part of that process.
120%. Yeah.
And for all you guys out there, everybody, obviously, the purpose of these, conversations is always going to be about our fitness, right? We want to kind of help our younger community kind of get down to that, right? Fitness, right? Like staying in shape. Just so you understand, fitness is a holistic approach. It's not just your body, right? Your outer body, right? It's your inner body too. It's your inner mindset. It's just all that, right? So you gotta be you gotta be connected on 3 levels, right? This is why we try to bridge the gap here.
Yes.
And you gotta be connected on the spiritual or the aware level. I like to call it the conscious awareness, subconscious awareness. You gotta be there.
Yeah.
You also have to have the aspect of physical awareness, right? You gotta be physically aware of who you are and what your limitations are. Although there really are no limitations, right? We're all individuals, but we do have individual points of limits or yielding that we will ultimately get to. And I think lastly, the most important is really understanding that there's an emotional aspect to it.
Yes.
And I think that's where most people fall victim is to the emotional aspect. I know I most certainly have, right? We were just talking earlier, one of the things, the biggest thing for me is seeing myself from 4 years ago, even 3 years ago, pre-pandemic, during the pandemic, even just being that guy that was in shape and just being nice and fit, and then coming back and going back out to work and then being all stressed with work and then having my job literally destroyed me in the sense that my job caused my body to go haywire. Because of all the stress that I allowed, and I opened the floodgates. I allowed that to happen, right?
We think that stress is just like a mentality thing.
No,
it affects you so much, hormonally, physically, different things. Just being able to do day-to-day activities, and it's
100%. And it's a physical thing for me now because it has all translated into that over the last 2 years, right? And I've never had any of these issues before, and now I'm starting to experience that. And from the emotional, psychological to the physical, and it's all a gigantic puzzle, and it all goes into the same. It fits all well together, and we have to understand that because they all fit together, they all go together. We have to understand that we're a part of that ecosystem, right? And in order for you to get to the goals and things you want to get to, you got to have the right mindset. So sometimes we got to learn how to clear our mindsets, clear our minds, so we can get to that. So one of the things I've been doing lately is working on things like obviously like meditation and some of those types of things to help us. Right? I read something the other day where they're talking about. They said that your mindset, your mind can ultimately change your outward expressions and appearance. Of course. People look younger when they're happier. People look and feel better when they are in a healthier space. Actually, Dr. David Sinclair, a well-known doctor, actually, he's pretty famous. He actually did a study on how the body responds on the cellular level, the molecular level, how it responds to stress and other factors, and how to reduce that. But the impacts it had, because they actually pretty much found the secret to youthfulness, right? And it's all in the cells, right? It's all in the messages that's sent to the cells. So imagine if we're sending these negative messages to the cells now. Imagine what's happening, when we are just stressed out with just the environmental stresses of life, work, family, situations that we just can't control, or we can't control to some degree, but we're not going to hate on our family, right? We're not going to push our people away. We're going to try to help them. Just imagine all that additional stuff on top of that. What ultimately happens, right? There are so many factors, and I think that mindset, the key to mindset, is really important. We got to try to remain always mindful of all these factors, right? It's extremely important. For me personally, I will tell you that I am a big believer, I'm a huge believer that if we are able to stay focused on what we want, it'll manifest, right? Right, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm 100% agree and attest to that. Just having that ability to focus, and like you said earlier, what was it? Emotional control, right? What's the one reason why people drop off, whether it's fitness, career, or just anything in general? Emotions. Yeah.
You gotta short-term goals.
Yeah.
Listen, you gotta understand something, right? Your head is obviously higher than your heart, right?
Yes.
I like to use this analogy, right?
It's good, yeah.
So my head it sits on top of my body. It's the top part of my body. It's not the bottom. It's not on my feet. I don't look up from the ground this way. I look down and I look straight ahead. And the thing about it is that you got to understand that because your head is higher than your body, the head game will always dominate the heart game, but your heart will always win every time. Why? Yeah. Because your heart is your emotions, and because we're human beings, we are highly emotional, and as a result of that can ultimately be the one thing that ultimately creates issues for us, right?
Exactly. This is why I'm such a huge fan of the whole philosophy and the whole notion of Stoicism, right? When people think Stoicism, the first thing that they...
What is that even?
That's a good question.
What is being Stoic, right?
Stoic itself is actually... The problem is that there's a misleading term to it, or a misleading definition. Stoic means that you're kind of, I guess, what's the urban or younger definition I'm thinking of? Based, right? I don't care, right? Think of Nirvana.
Just being plain. It's just being plain. It's just be somebody being plain and jarring.
Yeah.
Jarring right down the line, right?
But that's not exactly what Stoicism is. Stoicism actually leads to happiness, right? You could be like me, hey, how's it going? Mickey Mouse Mayor, all this stuff. But at the same time, Stoic. Stoic means emotional control, right? When things aren't going your way, that's when you need to be stoic. Meaning that it doesn't necessarily mean that, I give up, that's nihilism. That's when life doesn't matter, nothing matters.
That's what it's called, nihilism?
Nihilism, yeah, that's the opposite of stoicism. It's actually the opposite of stoicism. Sorry, I was a philosophy minor in college, so I love this stuff. But that's nihilism. And stoicism is the opposite in the sense that things don't go your way. You have that sense of perseverance, but you also have that emotional control, right? That's so important. That you have the ability to say that, hey, things aren't going my way right now, this hour, this minute. Let me calm down, let me work through this, right? Let me find the next most optimal solution. And that's just super important because it just allows you to eventually get to your goals, like you said, right? If you have that focus, you have that discipline, this might be a little tangent, but I think the whole mindset of discipline. For example, what was it, yesterday 94 degrees, right? Hottest day in New Jersey for the entire year. And I think
So far,
yeah. And me and Pedro were discussing that, we have all this work to do, we have all these goals, but what's the thing you'll hear from most young people when it's 94 degrees outside, right? Well, where do they want to go? I want to go to the beach, right?
Not only young people, I mean anybody.
A lot of
really,
people try to
everybody.
be young.
Everybody want to go to the beach. I mean, I want to go to the beach too, but I mean, like,
Exactly.
but like seriously,
Exactly.
I'm in the business of changing the mind, transformation.
I want to go to the beach, but I'm in the business, right? You can even end the sentence right there. Right? Exactly.
I'm in the business of transformations, baby. Here we go.
It's kind of like that's what Stoicism is. It's like, okay, there are all these distractions. I can go have fun. I can do this. Wait, let me calm down and think a little. What are my priorities, right? Would that really be fun if I go out? If I, go to the beach with this. So like, we were discussing, the first thing that people think is, hey, I want to go to the beach, 94 degree weather. Whereas, me and Pedro, we kind of had something in common. We're thinking, 94 degrees, well, wow, it's going to be a hot car ride to the gym. That's our first thought, right?
Hot car ride to the gym.
I'm going to turn the AC up, right? Even if you get out of work 2 hours early, let's go to the bar, let's get lit. Let's get lit, the young people term, right? Right? But whereas if you're a little bit more focused, stoic, disciplined, wait a minute, I got out 2 hours early. Let me see if my mom needs help with anything. Let me see if I could do some more work.
I gotta say something. Shaker's an old guy actually. He's not 25. This man is talking about the young people. Like, bro, what basket do you come from, bro? Like, what are you talking about? Like,
there's a great quote by Anton Chekhov. Let me see if I could pull it up right now. It's about wisdom and time. Well, essentially it goes that wisdom isn't a collection of age over time, but rather it's a collection of experiences. So yeah, and I don't mean to sound pretentious or like that I'm some wise sage or anything of that sort. But sometimes if you have different experiences, maybe you can kind of like.
He's a Buddha. He actually has a statue that they shake.
That's right.
But no, that's the whole point. Listen. The biggest mindset. Enslaved mentality that we have. It all comes from one place, and especially today, it's in the media. With all the flashing media that's in front of us, with the cell phones and all these different, accesses that we have to that stuff. There's a lot of negativity out there, and believe it or not, even the things that they say is positive is really not, right? You see an image of a person, you see an image online, you see a profile of a person who's actually, really, really, really in shape. They're got big muscles, they look great, 6-pack abs, all this stuff. The girls with the big booties and all this stuff, and you guys are like, oh man, I gotta be like her. But what you don't realize the process. Maybe stop to think for a second. Maybe she or he is not naturally like that.
Yeah, right.
That's not who they really are.
It's a facade. It's an illusion. Yeah.
And maybe you didn't realize that maybe they did something that you are not willing to do to get there, like maybe surgeries or steroids or whatever it may be. Right. There's so many different factors to that, and I think that's one thing we got to understand. We got to understand that everything we do, there is something else that we may not understand about it, and the mindset has to be there to understand that this is what I'm doing, this is what I want, this is the road I want to go down, but it's for me.
Yeah, right.
Your mindset, you have to see, your perception, you got to perceive it as something positive to want it to ultimately manifest into what you want it to for yourself. And then, obviously, manifestation, a positive manifestation, you have to manifest.
Right. I guess I'll ask you.
You have to manifest.
So on that, I'll ask you, what are your thoughts on the whole, young people and just people in general, right? This whole concept that's been kind of thrown in there so much. Instant gratification. Thoughts on that?
Instant gratification is a mindset. You can't.
Dangerous one, though.
It's dangerous, right?
Yeah.
Because why? Instant gratification. Because again, social media listen, I'm gonna put it like this. When's the last time you've seen somebody on social media show you, right, their struggles, the shit they go through?
Of course.
You don't see them showing you like the back end of what they went through to get to where they got
to. If it's there, they'll put up one video and take it down.
Everybody's so afraid of showing you yo, this is who I was. This is my negative side.
Yeah, right.
It's that. So the reality is that they only show you the happy times. Yo, we get lit. Yo, we out here. We get. Yep. They show you that the parties, the money, the throwing up, the jets, the this, the that, but they don't show you what the grind that they had to go through. They don't show you where they were in the grit, down in the trenches. And I think that's so important. If we were to start showing people the trenches rather than to just show them, just that result, then people would understand it's a mindset. those people are mentally where they are because of the mindset they had through the trenches to get to that point. And most people don't have that. So when we talk about this particular topic of, you know, it's instant gratification, you know, being online, I go on there, I want to get this body, so I want to look like her, so I'm going to go to the gym in 2 months. 2 months, just 2 months, I'm gonna lose 35 pounds.
Yeah.
You're wrong, you're not gonna lose 35 pounds. I mean, you can. Don't get me wrong, I can help you do that shit. Yo, you want to come see me?
Shameless plug.
Yo, hold on. $300 an hour, bro. 3 bands. I help you out.
That's right.
But check this out. 1 hour, not an hour. But check this out. We'll do that. But the point about it is when we do that, you also have to understand there is a consequence and an equal reaction to that. That if you are not ready for that, and if you are not understanding of what it takes to get to that, you're not going to get there. And even the one to get in 3 months, to lose the body and to get to that in 3 months, it's almost impossible. It's unhealthy.
And I think what we really have to do, like,
it's dangerous.
It's dangerous, yeah. And like, you know, one thing that I think I'd like to put out there is one thing in this episode is let's change this mindset of instant gratification, right? 10 seconds on TikTok, what we say, oh, we need to be like that in 10 seconds, right? Let's change that to delayed gratification.
Right.
Once we can kind of develop that as the mindset, like the universal mindset, right, we become more mature.
This goes into what we call, we talked about this before, process, right?
Process. Yeah.
You gotta fall over the process.
Yeah. The journey.
You gotta fall over the process. The journey is important because the journey is where you grow. You don't grow from the result. You don't grow from the you grow from the process.
Yeah.
So you started out as a fat kid, and now you go through the process, and now you see yourself gradually becoming a skinnier kid, and now you start to love yourself even more because now you start to realize, and don't get me wrong when I say this, I'm not saying that you didn't love yourself before, I'm saying now you start to love yourself more because now you start to realize your true potentiation, your potential. The one thing that we all have is potential. You start to realize that, oh wow, and you start to harness that power, and you start to unleash it. And you see more of it just comes out, and it's a beautiful thing. You get to the result, the goal that you want. It's just a beautiful thing at the end of the day, and I think that's what most people miss. If we had that mindset in life, it would be beautiful. This is why I always say in today's society, the social media of today is a prison.
Of course,
it's a prison. It's a prison, and it has a lot of people imprisoned in their minds. It's a jail. It's like being in jail.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and the sad thing about it, most people don't realize they're in jail.
Yeah.
You're in a free prison. You're in a free fucking prison, bro. Like, you are out here. You want to be like the next best person because they got. Do you realize that you may not be able to get the six-pack abs, but you know what? You might be stronger than that person, and that's where you need to be, and that's what you need to focus on.
And more important than that, you might like being stronger rather than the process.
Exactly.
So go on that journey, right?
Exactly.
It's like
Quick story for you. Look, I'm guilty of it. I had a friend of mine that died last year, right? The guy was 39 years old, right?
Yeah.
I met him when I worked at Equinox with my coworkers. Super nice guy, bro. The nicest guy in the world. Of course. And I remember having this one conversation with him.
Always smiling,
Yeah. I remember we had this conversation. We were talking about, you know, because he was a bodybuilder and he competed and stuff. And we were talking. We had a conversation, a real simple conversation about, you know, getting to that point, you know. And he said something to me that I thought was mind blowing. I was like, how could a person so happy, so outgoing, have it all going for them, say something like that? He was like, I'm willing to do whatever it takes so I can maintain and have the body that I want, because at the end of the day, that's what makes me happy. And if I die doing it, I die doing it. You know what? At the end of the day, I don't know why he died. All I know was something crazy. It was a medical condition But you know what? He died. I'm going to tell you, it was probably because of that.
Yeah.
There's just no doubt. Maintaining that throughout the entire, there's no doubt. And I legitimately, at some point, because of his happiness, I wanted that. You know, I wanted to be like, I literally wanted that. Yeah. It was the one thing that I would have been, I want to be like this guy. I want to be like this.
So bad, you don't realize what it takes to get there.
Exactly. And I didn't realize what it takes to get there. And when I realized, I was like, nah, I'm not doing it. You know, so we got to understand that. You know, listen, at the end of the day, it's a mindset. And once I changed my mindset, I didn't even realize I was already there. I had it. Him and I, we will compete against. I had it already. So it's all about a mindset. I think if we're understanding, if we know how to get out of that mindset, I think if we understand that it is indeed a mindset, and that we shouldn't be just caught up in someone else's, results, and see that as one of the gratification from that.
Yeah.
I think that we'll get to the goals that we need to get to,
Right.
and I think that's what it all boils down to. It boils down to that at the end of the day.
Yeah, yeah. Thinking on your own terms, right? Having the introspection, just being able to see outside of, the sheep herd.
Yeah. I think that's so important, man. I mean, for me, I see you, sometimes I see you, I'm like, damn, this guy's crazy, man. The guy really shakes sometimes. I would work out with him sometimes,
Yeah.
But, there's always room to learn.
Yeah.
Mindset, there's always room, there's always space to learn. We're always, open to that.
Open to that. That's a very important
Open
thing.
to
Just
that.
being humble and mature enough to be
Coachable.
Yeah, exactly. Coachable, right? Coachable, approachable, even.
Yeah.
Being able to have the mindset that I can still grow. I can still keep on growing, and I can learn from everyone, right? Pedro just kind of said some awesome words about me. I think the same thing about him, right? This guy's so articulate, carries himself well, has a lot of wisdom. I want to learn from him, right?
But think about this. So how many people that right now that when they see me, they're like, that guy's an asshole.
Yeah.
I'm not talking to that guy. But that's not the case at all. This is who I am, right? This is my background. And that partially is my fault because of the approachability factor. But the reality is that you will never know. You let your heart lead you away from an opportunity with someone or something that can help you. Like, it's crazy to me, right?
So you said it's your fault because of approachability, but also shame on everyone else who doesn't approach you because they're not open-minded enough to say,
exactly.
This guy, he walks tall, right? Straight walk, right? Kind of has a poker face on. But let me actually get to know this dude, right? What's he about, right? You have to have that mindset. You have to be able to learn from people, like whether they're 8 years old or 80 years old, right? Whether they're smiling all the time or whether they're kind of still, serious.
Because Shekhar could be a serial killer. You guys never know. He might be walking around smiling all the time. And really,
I can fake it really well.
Exactly. So it's a mindset, man. And I think it's really important to understand that. And I think that the one thing we got to do is that we got to have the right mindset.
Yes.
When in fitness, I think for us to all get to our goals in fitness, the mindset has to be right. And the only way it can be right is if we simply accept the fact that we are not going to imprison ourselves with what we see in the moment, but we're gonna open ourselves up. We're gonna have our minds flourish on the idea that at some point we're going to get to this goal. It's patience. Patience also comes into that as well. I think that's a major part of it. Again, I gotta say this. It's always a pleasure to have these kind of conversations, right? Because they're always directed towards a point. The point is.
Pleasure and a blessing.
A blessing, right? For me, I want to be able to reach all these guys out there in high school and in college that are, going through this stuff right now, trying to do all these things, that's getting this fake, false information. I want to bring it. Not saying that I'm the God of gods or the gods of mindset or Zeus from right, or whatever the case be from whatever. But I do have a lot of intuition that I want to bring from my own experiences, but also just things that I already know. They're just facts of life, right?
Yeah, and it's like what I think I mentioned in the last one. It's like set the bar high, but you always want to help the next generation set the bar higher, right? Like, we want to help prevent you from making the same mistakes we did, or not go through the hardships we did, right? So that you could kind of I think it's so important.
It's also really important, And again, listen. You got to be in control of your own destiny and your own mindset. Again, just remember this: always operate from a head place and not a heart place. When you operate from your heart, you lose. Always operate from your head. Your head will guide you, and then your heart can come in and be second to that. And ultimately, if your heart is second to that, then you win. You're always going to win, right? Do not let your heart take you out of the game.
Right.
But with that being said, we're kind of out of time here today, and I do want to say, listen, man, Sheikh, it was a pleasure having you on this episode.
It was an honor. Really.
And listen, man, I think we had some really good conversation. Again, guys, stay true to yourself. Mindset is key. Let go of the prison mentality. Let go of the prison mentality in social media. Enjoy social media. Don't get me wrong. Love it because it is there for our enjoyment and for our pleasures. But at the same time, don't let it consume your life. Don't let it consume your goals and your passions. And stay true to yourselves.
Right.
Once again, I gotta be honest with you. This was one of my best ones. I love it. Sheikh, again, thank you so much for coming on throughout the day. I appreciate that.
It's an honor,
and once again, man, we legitimately We hope you guys stay tuned for some more episodes. We're gonna be recording some more soon again, our hashtag is lit, it's FML. It doesn't mean what you think. It's not what you think.
Yeah.
It's not F my life. It's fitness to motivate a lifestyle change. And that's what we are.
Yeah.
All right, man. So once again, thank you guys so much for joining us, and we'll catch you guys in the next episode. Peace.
See ya.
We're out.